He didn't fall from the sky, he rose from the earth. An emaciated man, covered in ash and geothermal residue, stumbled out of a forgotten steam vent in the Atacama Desert. He hadn't seen the sun in 7 years. The world thought he was dead. The prison he came from wasn't supposed to exist. It was a corporate black site, a secret whispered among the world's elite criminals. A place called the Caldera, a maximum security penitentiary built 2 miles beneath the Earth's surface, powered by the magma chamber of a dormant volcano. Its walls weren't concrete. They were cooled obsidian rock. Its warden wasn't a man. It was the crushing pressure and the intolerable heat. Escape was not just impossible, it was a geological absurdity, but they never accounted for a man like Kaelen Vance. Before the Caldera, Kai was a legend in a different world, a world of tumblers, circuits, and pressure plates. He was the world's greatest safecracker and security penetration expert, a ghost who could bypass any system. He never stole for wealth, only for the challenge, for the thrill of solving the puzzle. But his final job went wrong. Betrayed by his client, he was captured not by police, but by the shadowy Geocore Corporation. They didn't want him in a normal prison. They wanted his mind buried forever. Kai's first memory of La Caldera was the heat, a physical weight that stole the air from his lungs. The only light came from the faint, terrifying glow of magma flowing behind reinforced quartz walls and the sterile, automated light panels. There was no day, no night, only the constant, low hum of geothermal turbines and the deep, bone-jarring shudder of the earth. The guards were silent, clad in heat-resistant suits, their faces hidden behind reflective visors. They were ghosts, enforcers of a silent hell. For the first year, despair was Kai's only self. His skills of locks and alarms were useless against a prison made of a living planet. He watched other inmates lose their minds to the sensory deprivation, their humanity baked out of them. But a mind like Kai's cannot stay idle. He began to see his prison not as a cage, but as a machine. And every machine has a flaw. He started observing, noting the subtle shifts in pressure, the rhythm of the turbines, the flow of recycled air. His chance came in the form of an old man named Silas, the original geologist who helped design La Caldera before he was imprisoned for trying to expose its existence. Silas was considered mad, a broken man who spoke to the rocks, his skin pale from a decade without sunlight. "You're listening to the wrong things, boy," Silas rasped to Kai one day, seeing him tap on a wall. "This place isn't dead. It breathes." Silas explained that the volcano, while dormant, had a cycle, a rhythm of pressure build up and release through a network of microfissures and man-made vents. La Caldera used this geothermal pressure to generate its power, venting excess steam through a series of layered, automated blast doors. It was the prison's heart and its greatest defense. No one could survive the raw superheated steam. But Silas had mapped it. He knew of one main exhaust conduit that led directly to the surface. "It's a cannon," Silas whispered, his eyes gleaming with a mad spark of hope. "And it fires once every 6 months." A plan began to form, a plan so insane it could only be conceived in the depths of hell. They wouldn't break out. They would be ejected for the next 3 years. They prepared. The mission was one of information and materials. Kai used his old skills in a new way, manipulating the prison's social dynamics, trading favors for slivers of metal, a piece of wire, a strip of rubber. He learned to pick the simple mechanical locks on the maintenance shafts, places the automated guards rarely patrolled. Silas, using his memory of the original blueprints, drew a map on scraps of uniform fabric with charcoal stolen from the water filters. Their greatest challenge was creating a heat shield, something to survive the initial blast of steam. They scavenged insulation panels from the back of the nutrient paste dispensers in the mess hall, stitching them together with stolen wire. It was a pathetic shield against the breath of a volcano, but it was all they had. They needed a diversion, something to disrupt the prison's perfect automated rhythm. Kai targeted the water reclamation system, the most complex and delicate piece of machinery in the facility. Using a conductive wire, he planned to short-circuit the primary pump regulator just minutes before the scheduled pressure release. This would trigger a facility-wide lockdown and redirect the silent, robotic guards away from the maintenance sector. The day arrived. Silas, too old and frail for the journey, gripped Kai's arm. "Tell them the sun is real," he said, handing him the map. Kai nodded, a silent promise between the madman and the ghost. He slipped into the maintenance corridor, his heart a frantic drum against his ribs. He reached the water pump, the air thick with the smell of ozone and sulfur. With a spark, he shorted the regulator. Immediately, alarms, silent for years, blared to life. Red lights flashed, casting demonic shadows on the obsidian walls. The automated guards began to march in unison towards the water sector, just as he'd planned. Kai ran, his footsteps echoing in the now empty corridors, following Silas's crude map. He entered the restricted geothermal sector, the heat becoming an inferno. He could feel the deep, resonant tremor beneath his feet. The volcano was inhaling, preparing to exhale. He reached the main exhaust conduit, a massive circular tunnel sealed by a series of 3 blast doors. The first door was a simple mechanical override, a lock he had practiced on for months. It clicked open. The second was electronic. He had only seconds to bypass the circuit before the system would register the breach. His fingers, slick with sweat, worked with inhuman speed. The light turned from red to green. The door hissed open. He stood before the final seal, the main vent cap. Below him, he could hear a roar building, the sound of a planet clearing its throat. The pressure buildup was ahead of schedule. He had less than a minute. He strapped the makeshift insulation shield to his back, the flimsy material feeling like paper. The ground shook violently. The roar became deafening. The final blast door began to open automatically as part of the release cycle. He braced himself at the lip of the vent, a vertical tunnel stretching 2 miles up into darkness. For a moment he saw Silas's face in his mind. He thought of the sun. A colossal wave of white-hot steam erupted from below. He didn't climb. He was thrown. He rode a violent plume of superheated steam, a human cannonball fired from the depths of the earth. The force was unimaginable, the heat searing, the noise stripping away all thought. His pathetic shield held for mere seconds before disintegrating into ash. Tumbled through miles of rock and darkness, he was finally blasted out of the steam vent into the cold desert night. He lay on the ground, broken and burned, as the first rain he had felt in 7 years began to fall, washing the ash from his face. Back in La Caldera Geocor simply listed Kaelen, Vance, and Silas as lost in a geothermal incident. No one would ever know, but a legend was born, a whisper in the darkest corners of the underworld about the ghost who climbed out of hell. Kai was a man with no name, no past, but he was free. He had looked into the fiery heart of the earth and refused to blink. He proved that no cage, whether made of steel or stone, can hold a mind that is truly determined to solve the puzzle of its own freedom. The story of Kai Vance is a testament that even in the deepest darkness, the brightest light is the unyielding fire of the human spirit. If you found this story of impossible escape compelling, please hit the like button and subscribe for more Tales from the Edge. Ring the notification bell and let us know in the comments what is the most legendary prison escape you've ever heard of.